Hi, I'm Tony. Welcome to Sports Bike Shop's review of the Interphone SYNC70 smart display. The Interphone SYNC70 is the latest CarPlay and Android Auto device, which is designed to keep you connected while you're riding. It gives you a 7-inch monitor that mounts to your bike and will mirror your phone's data, which gives you a communications hub while you're riding. Any compatible apps that you've got on your phone will then become available through the sync screen on your bike. The main use really is navigation, but you can also control calls and music that come through to your intercom. The base model, the SYNC70 Essential, offers just that, and then the SYNC70 Smart Display adds front and rear dash cams plus tyre pressure monitors, so you can record your rides and monitor your pressures while you're going along. I used the full kit for this review, so here's what you get, what it does and what it's like to use. In the box is a handlebar mount that uses Interphone's quick lock system. There are plenty of alternative quick locks mounts available to buy if the one that's supplied with the unit doesn't suit your bike. Once this is in place on the bike, it's just a case of pushing the unit on and rotating it clockwise until it clicks securely into place. To power the unit, you've got three options. You can connect it to your bike battery or to a USB-A or a USB-C power outlet. If you've got the Essential model at this point, you just connect it to the power and move on to setting up the device. If you've got the full SYNC70 kit, at this point you plug in the two dash cams, install the tyre pressure sensors as well, and both of those are easy to do. Once all that's installed, you pair the device with your phone through either CarPlay or Android Auto, and you'll see the homepage pop up. This shows you the time of day, your tyre pressures, the total distance you've travelled, and it also gives you a compass heading. If you tap on the tyre pressure display, this is where you can set the high and low thresholds, and then if either of your tyres goes outside of that range, you'll get an alert to say so. You can't set different limits for front and rear tyres, which personally I think is a bit of a shame. If you tap the section in the centre, at this point it brings up a full screen speedo that gives you tyre pressures again and trip info. And then if you tap the phone link icon in the bottom left, that activates CarPlay or Android Auto and it makes the screen mirror your phone. Once we're into this, you can control navigation, music and your calls. And then there's an app matrix in the bottom right that shows you all the compatible apps you've got on your phone. There's a white button on the screen as well that brings up home screen options to let you control brightness, the dash cams, and also some general settings. In terms of responsiveness, this device is better, faster than Interphone's older SYNC55. It's still not as slick as a phone if you're using one of those directly though. This is a relay, so there will always be a slight delay between input and response. I tested several navigation apps. Waze is simple and it works well for A to B trips. Google Maps offers a bit more control, but I find it harder to follow personally. For touring, I wanted custom routes that I could tweak to take in more interesting roads and stops. I tried a few apps to give me that. I got myself frustrated more than a few times. And then eventually I found a paid for app from TomTom that made this unit work as well for me as a dedicated sat-nav. Now TomTom have deleted that app in favour of a free one that acts more like Waze or Google Maps and doesn't give the option to create detailed routes. Now people tell me there are plenty of apps available that will allow me to curate routes and easily follow them, including Google Maps, but TomTom have just taken away the only one that I personally liked. Personally, I still prefer using a dedicated sat-nav when I want complete control over the route for a big riding trip. The SYNC70's display isn't the brightest, it's not the sharpest, but it is readable in daylight and it's absolutely fine for navigation. You can have spoken directions through to your intercom if you use one of those, but I prefer to use visual cues. Being able to control audio from the screen though, that is genuinely useful. I often listen to podcasts on my commute and being able to pause, skip or restart without digging out my phone is great. The screen works well as long as you're using touchscreen friendly gloves. I don't like taking phone calls while I'm riding really, but it is handy to see who's calling before I decide whether to answer, or I can at least look and decide whether I want to call them back once I've stopped riding. Overall, the display could be a bit brighter, could be a bit faster, but I found it a genuinely helpful addition to the bike. From the home screen, tapping into the dash cam controls opens with the view from the front camera, then you swipe right for the rear camera and swiping right again will give you a split screen view of the two. At the bottom there are options to mute the mic or take still photos which will be saved to the SD card. The red circle stops the unit recording, otherwise the system automatically records whenever the unit's powered on. Footage is saved in short clips to the SD card and they're wiped once that card is full, starting with the oldest files. Emergency files and still image folders are protected from auto deletion. The front camera records in 2K and uses about 8 gigabytes per hour. The rear records at 1080p and it uses about 4 gig an hour. Combined, a 128 gig card stores around 10 hours of footage before overwriting the oldest files. Now here's my main gripe. Tapping the padlock button doesn't save footage of what's just happened. It only protects what's recorded after you press it. So if something interesting or important occurs, you'll need to copy that section manually from the SD card before it's automatically deleted. A software update could fix this, and I'm waiting to hear back from Interphone to see if they plan one of those. There is an app that's designed to let you access your footage via your phone. Trying to use that app aged me about 3 weeks in 1 hour, and I've never gone back, and a colleague had exactly the same experience. You can replay footage directly on the device. If you swipe left from the dashcam view, then you can browse the folders. Ordinary video is where you see the looping footage. Emergency video and photos are locked, and they're the areas that won't be auto-deleted. The footage quality is decent for dashcam use. It's clear enough to show what's happened on a ride, but it's not on a par with a modern action camera, so the SYNC70's video is practical rather than cinematic. Okay, let's talk price. The full SYNC70 smart display with cameras and sensors costs $299.99 as we record this. The essential version, without the cameras and the tyre pressure sensors, is $259.99. That's less than half the price of the unit that is probably seen as the benchmark in this world, which is the Chigi AIO6. The Chigi display is more responsive, it's crisper, and so are the cameras, which also protect footage of what's already happened rather than what's about to happen. But the Chigi costs just over £700 for a setup that's comparable with this if you have the cameras and the tyre pressure sensors. The Interphone's 7-inch screen is larger than Chigi's 6-incher, and that difference is surprisingly noticeable on the bike. The Interphone does the basics for a more basic price. The Chigi is more indulgent for a more indulgent price. When I used the SYNC70, I fitted it to a Suzuki V-Strom 800RE like this one, mounted it on the rail just behind the screen. This I found to be an ideal position, sitting just below my natural eye line, so I could glance down a little bit for navigation without losing focus on the road, and I also found the large display really easy to read there. Something you'll need to be aware of with any Android Auto or CarPlay unit, including this SYNC70, running Android Auto or CarPlay will drain your battery noticeably. On my Samsung A35, which has a 5000 mAh battery, I saw around 8 to 10% of battery loss per hour of riding. Now that's fine for regular rides, but on my riding holiday this summer, I needed to charge my phone while I was on the move. I did that by keeping the phone in a tank bag and running a charger cable to the USB port that's on the bike. If you're using your phone all day with this, you'll need to find a plan for keeping the phone battery topped up. Overall, I'd describe the Interphone SYNC70 as practical rather than thrilling. It streamlines navigation, it helps monitor tyre pressures, and it saves you from mounting your phone to the bike or fishing it out of your pocket every time you want to use it. The cameras, they add peace of mind, recording in case you ever need evidence of what's happened. The inability to lock down previous footage though, that is a real shortcoming. Video quality is fine for reference but not for creative use, so personally I see this as a utility device rather than a particularly fun gadget. Personally, I can see the temptation to just skip the cameras and the tyre pressure sensors and go for the cheaper essential device, but for just 40 quid extra, I probably would take them anyway for the just in case factor of having footage as evidence in case something does go wrong. Once I'd learnt my way around the SYNC70, I found it a genuinely useful touring companion. It's affordable, it's functional, and it's pleasantly straightforward to use once it's set up. I hope that tells you everything you wanted to know about the Interphone SYNC70, but if there is anything you'd like to ask or to add, then please pop a comment below. Thanks for watching.